Are you feeling scared, maybe overwhelmed, or just plain stressed out by the state of the world? Yeah, you are definitely not alone in that. But what if I told you the key to navigating all this modern chaos wasn't some new app, but actually ancient wisdom? Today, we're going to explore how Stoicism offers this incredibly powerful toolkit for our modern anxiety. First things first, let's get one thing straight. It is so easy to look at the news, at the political chaos, at just how people treat each other and think, wow, this is the worst it has ever been, right? But is that really true? The Stoics would have a very, very clear answer for us.
And that leads us right into our first big idea. This is nothing new. The idea that we're living in some unprecedented age of disaster is, frankly, a comforting story we tell ourselves. But it's just not true.
It's so easy to picture these great philosophers writing from some peaceful, quiet ivory tower, but that could not be further from the truth. Socrates? He didn't live in some golden age of Athens. He lived through decades of war and the absolutely brutal rule of the 30 tyrants. Seneca served the mad emperor Nero. I mean, can you imagine? And Marcus Aurelius, literally the most powerful man in the world, was dealing with nonstop war, a plague that wiped out millions, and his own serious health problems. The takeaway is clear. History has always been one thing after another. Realizing that hardship is the rule, not the exception, well, that isn't meant to be depressing. Actually, it's empowering. It connects us to this long, unbroken line of human beings who faced their own overwhelming times, and somehow they endured. And just like them, you can get through this too. You will get through it. Okay, so if the world has always been a challenging place, where does all of our suffering actually come from? This is where the Stoics make this brilliant distinction that, honestly, can change everything. The Stoics, a lot like the Buddhists, really understood this idea of the two arrows. The first arrow is the event itself. It's what happens to you. It's an objective fact. It might be painful, for sure, but the second arrow, that's the one we fire at ourselves. It's the story we tell about what happened. It's the judgment we add on top, the rumination, the anger, the feeling that it's all so unfair. That's where the real suffering lives. And this just perfectly illustrates Seneca's point, doesn't it? We dread something that might happen in the future. We replay an insult in our heads over and over and over again. We imagine these worst-case scenarios. We are literally borrowing suffering from the future or reliving it from the past, and we're just piling it onto the present moment. Now, I know this idea that pain is self-chosen can sound a little harsh. It does not mean that a broken leg or losing someone you love doesn't hurt. Of course it does. That's the first arrow. What it means is that we choose that extra layer of pain, the second arrow, when we decide we've been singled out, when we throw ourselves a pity party, when we decide our reputation has been ruined forever. We take an objective event and we make it all about us. So, if a big chunk of our suffering comes from our own judgments and reactions, what in the world can we do about it? Well, this brings us to the most practical, most useful tool in the entire Stoic toolkit. It all comes down to this, the dichotomy of control. It's a simple but life-changing exercise. You just draw a line. On one side, you put the things you can't influence, external events, global politics, what other people do or say, that's outside your control. On the other side, you put what you can control, your thoughts, your judgments, your own actions. That's your domain. And that's exactly where all your energy should go. You can choose to focus on doing good things. You can choose not to get sucked into every single outrage in the 24-hour news cycle. You can decide to be a good person, to make a positive difference in your own little corner of the world. And, maybe most importantly, you can refuse to let the negativity of other people corrupt your own character. This might just be one of the most revolutionary ideas in all of philosophy. Seriously. In a world that tells you to clap back, get even, and fight fire with fire, Marcus Aurelius says the most powerful, the most subversive thing you can possibly do is to hold on to your own goodness, to not become the thing you hate. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but what about the most common source of our frustration? Other people. Yeah, the Stoics had a pretty radical way of reframing this as well. When Marcus Aurelius said the obstacle is the way, a lot of the time he was talking about difficult people. He'd literally tell himself every single morning that he was going to meet meddling, ungrateful, arrogant people, that he didn't see them as a curse. He saw them as a training partner. That frustrating person isn't just an annoyance. They're an opportunity to practice your patience. Someone who lies to you is a chance for you to practice your honesty. See? Every negative interaction is a chance to be the person you actually want to be. But here's the strange paradox, isn't it? We often show incredible patience with total strangers, the slow person at the grocery store, the coworker who needs help again. Yet, as you can see here, our patience runs thinnest with the people we claim to love the most. Your spouse asks what one too many times, and you just snap. Why do we do that? Seneca just nails it with this simple, kind of heartbreaking line. We get angry with the people closest to us because deep down, we know they'll put up with it. We know they love us enough to forgive us. But that is no excuse. Stoicism calls on us to aim our best selves, our most patient selves, toward the people who matter most. So let's bring this all home. If times are always tough and our own suffering mostly comes from our judgments, what is the ultimate Stoic takeaway? This quote from Marcus Aurelius is the final, most empowering piece of the whole puzzle. An event is just an event. The feeling of being harmed is a judgment. It's an opinion that we tack on top of it. And if we can add it, that means we can also choose not to. We can choose not to accept that story of victimhood.
This is it. This is the core thesis of the entire philosophy, boiled down into one single powerful idea. You don't control the world around you, you don't control the events that unfold, and you don't control other people. But you, and only you, control how you respond. That is where all your power lies.
Think about it. Every single person we look up to from history, Socrates, Seneca, you name it, they all have one thing in common. They didn't live in easy times. No, they are remembered precisely because they rose to meet the enormous challenges of their moment, with virtue, with resilience, and with character. And that really leaves us with a final question. This moment, right now, with all its challenges and all its frustrations, it isn't just something to be survived. It's an opportunity. It's a test. The world may be what it is, but inside of it, who will you choose to be?